So tell me a little bit about becoming a lifelong learner and what you've learned from 500 podcast episodes as the host.
Sure. I think it's really interesting. Number one, I think you have to be a lifelong learner. Some people don't choose those things. But for me, being proactive about it is really big because even just when we look back at 2020, right? It was crazy. There's change happening all over the place. You have no choice but to adapt and to continue to learn. But for me, being proactive about it is even more powerful because then I can choose what I get to learn. And so the best part about doing the podcast is I get to pick who the guests are. So I can pick topics and people that I think are interesting and that I want to learn about. And then hopefully the people that listen find those interesting and learn something too. But as I think about doing 500 of these, I set up this so that it would be sort of a lifelong podcast, that this format could be applied to any topic and we could keep it going and we could learn more and get better as we go along. So I've adjusted some of the questions, I've adjusted the way I do it, and we've changed recording platforms 3 or 4 times. So certainly we've been learning a lot about podcasting. But one of the things I think is the coolest is that I get to learn from all the guests. And so I get to do the interview live, and there's a lot of behind the scenes, and I get to know people a lot better and do some networking. But also then these air about 90 days after we record them. So I get to listen to them again when they come out as podcasts and go, oh, wow, I was so wrapped up in the interview, I didn't hear that the same way. And so I think the act of doing a podcast teaches you a lot too, because you get to learn once when you're recording, learn once when it comes out, learn along the way of how to make these better, how to promote them, and all the content from the great guests. It's really been cool.
What's one attitude you'd like people to have?
I would say that you need to do the hard stuff, be willing to face your fears and take risks, but that life shouldn't be hard. That if you're pushing, if you're really struggling and trying too hard, you're probably not in the right attitude, behavior, and technique. That if you are stretching yourself and you're afraid, that's good. If you're pressing, that's not good.
Gotcha. I like it. What's the key behavior people should be doing to be a lifelong learner?
I think you should do work that matters. You should push yourself and try to think about making art, not just products or success or making things easier for yourself, but how do you make it fun, artistic, creative, exciting for yourself and other people?
And what's the best technique to use to be a lifelong learner?
Man, I would say there's plenty of techniques for learning. Do a little bit all of the time, break it down into smaller chunks and, try new stuff, try creative techniques, and then rest after you've put a lot of information in. You got to give yourself time for your brain to make new connections. But if I could give one tip to everybody, it would be give away your ideas, give away the credit, and work on taking responsibility for yourself, the situation, and the results. If you do those 2 things, you will find a lot more success and you'll be a lifelong learner. Thank you for watching this highlight video from the How to Succeed podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, or click subscribe right here on YouTube to get notices about future episodes. And remember, whatever you are, be a good one.